I'm used to them beefing, you know. I don't like to see when wrestlers be friends. I never wanted to see Nas rap over JB. I never wanted to see Jay, you know, doing background for Nas. It just felt awkward. It'd be like Paul seeing like, you know, Godzilla and King Kong on the stage giving each other five and shit. I want to see rap with all this kumbaya. I'm not all about all that. I don't like niggas like that. But again, it just seemed like everybody was required to wear something that had something to do with the Yankees. Pause. I don't want to see another Yankee hat for a while now. There's too many Yankee hats. Now he played out. He played it out one day. Boom. When 100 niggas wear the same hat, I'm not wearing it. So it's like, I can tell you that right now. It just seemed very obvious that the hair thing really fucked with him because he had, you know, a scripted Beyonce in his hair twice. First of all, my girl doesn't ever cut my hair. You got to get a shape up. I'm not getting no haircut in the bleachers with no mirrors. Like, who does that? So why is it that you keep flexing this girl? Like, we know that's your girl. God damn. We know she's your girl. That's been what it's been the whole time. It's okay, you with Beyonce. I bet. She cut your hair, she touches you and all that. It doesn't look real. Pause. It just looks cringe because it's so unnatural.
Yung Miami just pulled out of BossMan Dlow's Motion Party Tour, and the timing has fans asking real questions. The tour was supposed to kick off the very next day, running from July 16th through August 29th across 25 cities. It was announced back on May 27th, meaning Yung Miami had been signed on for weeks. Then, just 2 days before it was set to start, she backed out entirely. And because she was central to the lineup, the whole tour got postponed. BossMan Dlow posted that due to an unexpected last-minute departure by Yung Miami, the tour was being postponed, with updated dates to be announced. Yung Miami followed up on X with her own explanation. She said she would not be on the tour anymore, thanked BossMan Dlow, and wished him well on the rescheduled dates. She said she was genuinely disappointed because she had been looking forward to it, but that she needed to lock in and finish deadlines on her album. She told fans the new music would be worth the wait and thanked them for the love on her single Spin That. Here is what makes the timing feel strange. Spin That is currently the biggest record of Yung Miami's career. It is sitting at #1 at urban mainstream radio, #1 on rap airplay, #1 on mainstream R&B hip-hop airplay, and #19 on the Hot 100. Her highest chart position ever as a solo artist. Pulling back from a tour right as your biggest song in your entire career is peaking is not the obvious move, which is exactly why people are questioning the official explanation. If someone drops off a tour 2 days before it starts, that usually signals an emergency, not a scheduling realization about album deadlines. That is the skepticism driving a lot of the conversation. But look at this from a different angle, because there is a business case that actually makes real sense. Yung Miami was signed off from QC in a situation that was widely discussed at the time. Reports suggested her music was not seen as maturing the way the label wanted. She has talked publicly about the industry treating her like she was finished, about fans trolling her and telling her to go get a commercial driver's license instead of pursuing music. Then Spin That happened, and it became the biggest moment of her career by a wide margin. She has since signed a new record deal, and it is not hard to connect the dots. A label investing in an artist off the strength of a hit record wants that artist focused on capitalizing on the moment, not touring as a supporting act. That is the real business consideration here. BossMan Dlow's Motion Party Tour was booked in mid-sized venues, around 2,500-seat rooms. BossMan Dlow has strong songs, but he is not an artist with a classic album driving ticket sales at scale the way a run built around Spin That's momentum could. If you are Yung Miami's label right now, watching her sit at #1 across multiple radio formats with her highest Hot 100 position ever, the priority is not a support tour. The priority is getting a full album out while that single is still dominating, or getting a remix out to extend the record's life even further and recoup investment on the deal that was just signed. An artist at Yung Miami's level does not typically write, record, and finish an album on a tour bus between tour stops. That process usually needs to be handled with focus, in the studio, with the label's full attention on getting the timing right. If the label is thinking clearly about business, pulling her off a tour to protect that timeline makes sense even if it disappoints fans who already bought tickets. That does not erase the frustration for fans who planned around these dates, spent money on flights and hotels, and now have to wait for rescheduled information. That frustration is completely valid, but the explanation that she needed to prioritize the album while Spin, that is still hot, is more plausible than it might sound on the surface, especially once you understand the chart numbers and the timing of her new deal. Dame Dash just went on The Art of Dialogue and had a lot to say about Jay Z's 3-night run at Yankee Stadium. None of it was good. The shows celebrated the 30th anniversary of Reasonable Doubt, Jay Z's debut album. One of the standout moments came when Jay brought out Nas for a cameo, a genuine full-circle moment considering their history. If you know anything about hip-hop, you know Jay Z and Nas had one of the most documented rap rivalries of the late 1990s and early 2000s before eventually putting it behind them. Another moment featured an intro where Beyonce appeared to be shaving Jay Z's head on stage at Yankee Stadium. Dame Dash watched all of it and did not hold back. On the Nas cameo, his reaction was that it felt cringe. His reasoning traced back to the era he was actually around Jay Z, a period when Jay and Nas were deep in their beef. To Dame, seeing the two of them cool now does not sit right. He compared it to watching two wrestlers who spent years as on-screen rivals suddenly show up as best friends. He said he never wanted to see Nas rap over a Jay beat or see Jay doing background for Nas. To him, it read as forced reconciliation rather than something real. Then he got to Beyonce. Dame called the haircut intro cringe and forced, arguing that everyone already knows Beyonce is Jay Z's wife, and that the moment felt like an unnecessary flex. He joked that his own girl would never touch his hair, comparing it to letting someone give you a shape-up with no mirror in the room. His point was that the whole segment felt scripted, specifically to remind the audience of their relationship rather than existing as something organic. He did not stop there. Dame also said the entire 3-night run felt like one giant commercial, pointing out how many people in attendance were wearing Yankees merchandise that seemed coordinated rather than organic. He joked that if 100 people are wearing the same hat, that alone tells you something was orchestrated. To understand where this is coming from, you have to understand the history between Dame Dash and Jay Z. The two of them built Rockefeller Records together in the 1990s and released Reasonable Doubt in 1996 as part of that partnership. In 2004, they sold their stakes to Def Jam, and Jay Z was brought on as president of that label. Dame was not part of that arrangement. He has described the split in stark terms, comparing it to being betrayed by someone he considered like a brother. The two have been in and out of court over the rights to Rockefeller ever since. Dame's financial situation has compounded the bitterness. Back taxes, child support obligations, and legal judgments eventually led a court to order his 1/3 stake in Rockefeller to be auctioned off. That auction happened in November 2024. So when Dame Dash critiques Jay Z's Yankee Stadium celebration, it is worth understanding that critique is not coming from a neutral observer. It is coming from a man who helped build the label that made Reasonable Doubt possible, and who has spent the years since losing both the relationship and the financial stake that came with it. Whether that context makes his comments more understandable or less credible depends on how you look at it. Some would say a man who lost that much has earned the right to be skeptical of anything that looks like a celebration of an era he was pushed out of. Others would say holding on to that level of resentment for 2 decades says more about Dame than it does about Jay. What do you think about Dame Dash's comments? Is he being a hater, or is he just being honest about something most people are too polite to say out loud? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more breakdowns like this one. Do you buy the explanation, or do you think there is more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more updates as this develops.